filth are my politics. Filth is my life. Filth is my life. Take whatever you like.
Welcome to the Cinefilth podcast, where a stay-at-home mom and insurance agent discuss something that no other podcast has ever dared to discuss. Movies, scary movies, classic movies, queer movies, new movies, all the movies that your parents warned you about. I'm Genevieve, and this is my co-host.
Mitchell.
Oh, God. What is this? Is this your Cuban Pete moment?
Oh, don't get me started so early.
Oh, God. For those who are not watching on YouTube, where you can watch every episode of Cinefilth, Mitchell is doing some gyrations.
Gyrating? Gyrating. Oh my
Gyrating.
God.
Oh my
Same
God!
word. We thought of the same word. That's so crazy.
I'm like, is your vocabulary getting better or is mine getting worse?
I did read 40 pages of a book this week, so
That's
you
true.
never know.
Look at you.
I know words.
You know words. I was just thinking 60 pages of something I wrote got published this week. Yay! For anybody listening, go get the 4K limited editions of Bride of Reanimator from Ignite Films. I wrote the oral history in the book that comes with the 2 deluxe editions. And somebody posted a picture of the table of contents, which I hadn't seen. I haven't seen it yet. And what I wrote was like 60 pages of it. And it was like a 120-page book, and half of it was the oral history. And I was like, that's me.
It's really cool. I did see when I did my 1 hour a day on the Instagram, I did see people were unboxing it, and I saw that you were liking it. That's probably why it popped up in my algorithm. But
I know. Well, I was getting so excited because I haven't seen it, so I'm like creeping. It makes me sad though, because sometimes people unbox them and they're like, and also there's a book, and then they like fling it off to the side.
there's
like,
this
fuck my
thing.
God, but otherwise it's been really fun. My husband was with me. I'm like on my phone and I'm like, oh, it's my book. Oh.
Oh, they threw it in the trash. Oh, they started it on fire.
They shred it in front of me. Like, no. It's funny though, because technically I didn't write that much. It was mostly transcribing interviews and organizing interviews. But I found that that's really hard work, but also really fun, because you have to use your knowledge of punctuation to try and get it to sound in the reader's head how they said it. You know what I mean?
Okay. You need to be able to, when you're reading it, to hear the conversation.
Yep. Lots of commas, lots of, what are these called? M dashes, lots of italicized words, just like, okay, you guys need to actually know how they're saying it so that you don't take it wrong. And so that was really fun. But anyway, enough about me. How are you, Mitchell?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question for you to ask because I talk to you all day, every day. So I guess I need to enlighten our readers on what's new in my life. What is new in my life? I've said it to every single person I've interacted with. This is my new personality. I have deleted social media apps off my telephone. It has been 2 weeks as of Sunday, so tomorrow. And girl, I'm going to start wearing drug rugs. I frolic in the woods. I read books. Yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible experience. I'm realistic. I didn't delete my accounts or anything, but I try to give myself maybe less than an hour a day. I might go doom scroll on my laptop, like pull up Instagram, which is so crazy how the social media apps are not at all compatible, or they're not designed for computers.
Yeah, they don't want you to do that.
It works for me because it makes me hate it even more. Because on top of the fact that the content's shit, because nobody posts anything about themselves anymore. There's no identity on social media anymore. It's people just sharing things and then just really negative stuff. I wish you were forced to, if you share content on social media, that you had to put something, some sort of opinion with it, whether it be a written form or now we'll make it so that you are no longer allowed to share posts unless you do the green screen thing where your face is in front of it. You have to react or talk about it. Sometimes people share things and I'm like, what are your thoughts on this?
What is the point of this? I get so tired of, I don't know, people feel like incredibly entitled to your to your attention. And that's really weird to me. I know a girl who shares, well, she's a woman. She's like my age. She's a woman. Um, but I know a
Once a
woman.
girl, always a girl.
Right. We're all girls. But she shares movies. And someone commented, like, why do you get free movies? Because you have a lot of followers. I professionally review movies on X. And it was like, what are you talking about? She like puts herself out there. She posts consistently. She does the thing that they sent her the movies for. She's reliable. And then I went and creeped on the guy and he posted like 5 times a year. And yeah, very impersonal, very much, here's my collection, bye. And it's like, what? People think that they deserve your attention even though they give nothing of themselves to something. And that's crazy to me.
But fundamentally, yes, she does get sent free movies because she does have a lot of followers. Why does she have a lot of followers? Go look at her fucking content, moron.
Yeah, because she's good at what she does. Imagine that.
Also, it's 2026. Have you not been on the internet lately to figure that out?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am 100% pro. If you're going to be on the internet, you got to be vulnerable. If you're just going to be a jerk to other people, or if you're just going to lurk, or if you're just going to reshare tragic news all the time, you got to give something of yourself because otherwise I just don't. What's the point? What are we doing here? That's crazy.
I don't know. It's just, it's not even fun anymore. But then it's crazy to think that when I had it on my phone, I hit my 2-hour cap every single day. It's one of those things you get used to it. And it's just, it's habit. And it, when you're looking at it, you're really not even processing what you're looking at it. Whereas now I've had 2 weeks of not doing that all day, every day. So now when I go on it, I'm much more mindful of what I'm actually looking at. And I'm like, this is fucking boring.
Yes, that's been a huge problem for me too. I'm like, someone needs to start a fight. Someone needs to be messy. I'm waiting for somebody's marriage to implode and it's not happening and I'm bored.
Speaking of fun, you know what? This is me doing a great segue. You know what movie I think is fun?
What?
The movie that we're going to talk about today.
What would that be, Mitchell?
It is the 1994. And I'm going to pull a Genevieve. I've got it right in front of me. The Mask.
Beautiful. Now, Mitchell, you have the 4K from Arrow Video of Jim.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Tell me about it because I don't have it. I had to rent it on Fandango.
Ew,
Yeah.
why? It's not on Mubi or something?
On Mubi. That would be so funny. They have all these art house foreign slow burn movies.
Oh, wait, not Mubi. Sorry. Sorry, I meant Tubi.
That's a little more on brand.
That makes more sense. Sorry. Next to the substance, the mask.
I mean, respect the balance, am I right?
But anyways, yes, I do have the Arrow release. I think this came out last year. The disc itself has a bunch of special features, which I watched last night. It was probably like 4 hours worth of special features and a lot of commentary from the director, which was part of why we're doing this movie, as he sadly passed. When did he pass away? It was a couple weeks ago, maybe?
I think July 22nd, Chuck Russell passed away, and he was pretty young. He was 74, which, I mean, that's not young, but like my dad's 70, turning 72. So when I see people in their 70s dying, I'm like, no, you can't do that.
No, everyone has to be
allowed.
95.
I thought it was really cool that Chuck Russell went from Freddy Krueger with Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, to The Mask. It felt like a really natural progression. And I knew that you love The Mask. It's in your top 4 on Letterboxd. And I was like, okay, Mitchell, I don't know if there's going to be another time where you're going to be able to convince me. Watch The Mask right now. So, because I'd never seen it. I was kind of familiar with it because of the cartoon growing up. Like, I'd go to my grandma's where we had cable because I didn't have cable at home, and I would watch the cartoon. And I remember like asking my dad, can I see the actual mask? Can I see the mask? And he was like, no. Because I was like in the single digits and it's a PG-13 movie.
Is
But
I
yeah, right. It's
didn't
like,
even know
is
the
it though?
rating.
Yeah, so I never saw it. And then by the time I was old enough to see it, I wasn't really interested anymore. You know, when you're a kid, that's kind of the peak Mask time. So tell me about your relationship with this movie growing up with it.
Mine was kind of the opposite of yours in that I've never seen the cartoon, and I was raised with the Jim Carrey movie. I was obsessed with this movie. My Aunt Paula had it on VHS, and I would ask her if I could borrow it, and I'd take it to my house, and I'd watch it all the time. And you mentioned, I keep wanting to say Kurt Russell. Why the fuck names? But it's Charles, who also goes by Chuck, because those are the same.
Yes.
People used to call my sister Charlie Chuck all the time.
Really?
Call the girl a boy name. But anyways, so yeah, he did go from Nightmare on Elm Street into this. And I don't know if you did any kind of research on this movie as far as the relationship between Freddy Krueger and The Mask and how it influenced how this movie turned out, in that the studio pitched this movie as a horror movie. It was supposed to be a horror movie, but Chuck was saying, if we make this a horror movie, it's going to be too similar to Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Mask is going to be way too similar to Freddy Krueger.
Well, right, because this was produced and distributed by New Line Cinema, which is known as the house that Freddy built, because they had made movies before, but it wasn't until Bob Shaye produced Nightmare on Elm Street that New Line took off and blossomed, you know? And so, yeah, The Mask was going to end up being just a Freddy, I don't know, Freddy doppelganger if they went the horror route. It makes sense that it was going to be a horror movie because I looked into it and like the comic was like straight up sadistic. Like you would
Or
put on the
dark
mask
humor.
or dark humor.
Let's call it what
Kind
it
of.
is. It's
I
sadistic.
was reading I was reading plot synopses of like specific scenes and I was like, oh, that's really nasty, which I feel like there's the remnants of that just because it's still the same character, just being kind of goofy instead. And so I don't know, it's really weird. But yeah, go on. It was supposed to be a dark horror movie, a dark comedy.
Correct. And then I think it was Chuck. That was so funny watching these special features. It's all these interviews with the different creatives on the team, and every single person had a little bit of a different version of how things happen. So I'm like, I don't know whose fucking idea any of this was at this point. It was, I don't know. Every other person had a different take on it, but I think ultimately it was Chuck's suggestion that it would be made into a comedy, and there was a lot of talks about who was going to play. Why can't I think of his name?
Stanley
Ipkiss.
Ipkiss.
Ipkiss. What a weird name. But anyways, who was going to play him? And this was before Jim Carrey really blew up. I mean, this was peak Jim Carrey era. I didn't realize that Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber all came out within the same 6-month span, which reminds me of Lindsay Lohan's little run. So Jim Carrey, Lindsay Lohan, I'm seeing parallels.
Right. Same diff. They both have like conspiracy theories surrounding them and oh my gosh. And it's so bizarre because yeah, you think of that short run and yet it seemed to encompass everything. It seems bigger than life, but it was 6 months.
I don't get how that's possible. I forgot how we got here. We were talking about how...
We were just talking about like the special
tonally.
features. Yeah, tone, yeah.
But yeah, they did find Jim Carrey, and I think finding Jim Carrey and putting him in this role really set everything in motion as far as this is going to be your screwball slapstick comedy film.
100%. Do you have like a favorite gag in this movie, like a joke that really...
So that's the thing with this movie is,
Yeah.
and I thought of this earlier as far as why was I so obsessed with this movie as a child? Why do I still enjoy it so much as an adult? I think it's because this is something so foreign to me. Jim's style of acting, I could never in a million fucking years do a fraction of the physical comedy that he does, because the amount of shame that that man has not a fraction of in his body is wild. If I were to do it, I feel so cringy and annoying, and he's one of the best at it as far as physical comedy goes, and that's why he's so great in this vessel of The Mask, this cartoonish, absurd character. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to it, because it's just something I could never do. And it's just, I find it fascinating.
Right. It's like if you do half of what Jim Carrey does, that's a normal person's 110%.
Is slapstick screwball comedy really much? Is that a thing, really? I mean, it is, but
Right.
not to
It's
this
few and far
degree.
between. Yeah. Yeah. It's
I,
not common anymore. I was watching the Amy Schumer comedy, I Feel Pretty, and I'm just kind of like, what sanitized hell is this? You know? Where it's
well,
like, this is nice, but it's not funny.
it's cool. We have to be subtle. It's got to be smart humor. And I think it's pretentious and fucking annoying, whereas this movie is just stupid. But in the best way. I feel like this movie's very aware of itself, and it doesn't take itself seriously. We were having that conversation in the group chat about the use of comedy in Evil Dead Burn, and I am personally just, I'm so over it. I don't need it anymore. It's like either be funny or just give it up, Delicious.
Right, because I was like, "What comedy? What are you guys talking about?" And you guys were like, "Well, they tried to use the grandma as a little bit of, humor." And I was like, it was so not with the movie that it just went over my head. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, why are we trying to make this story comedic when it's just not? This is a very bleak story. Own it. Own it.
It's just not needed. I don't need the creator of the film or the director, whoever's decision it is. I don't need them
Right.
to provide me the comedic relief. It feels like they're doing that for the audience's sake. And I
Mhm.
don't come to an Evil Dead movie to do hee hee ha ha, unless it's, of course, you look at Army of Darkness and the second one, which are very obviously, but again, the whole movie is intended, I believe, to be comedic, whereas Evil Dead
Right.
Burn is not trying to be that. And then
No.
it just takes you so out of it when it'd be in the middle of this dark, gruesome fight scene, and then all of a sudden it cuts to the grandma making a joke about her stealing her money, and it just, I thought it was stupid. I don't, it
Mhm.
doesn't do anything for me. I don't need it. Just
I think like the end of the horror with comedic undertones, I feel like we had a cycle of that and we're coming to the end of it. And I feel like it ended with weapons, where there was a lot of gags and weapons, like I can't remember his name, but there's a homeless kid in it who has a lot of comedic relief parts where he's like scared that he's going to get a disease from a needle. And it's very dark humor and it's very funny. But now I feel like everyone's trying to do that. Like, oh, let's bring a little hee hee ha ha into this. And it's like, no, just stop. I feel like we're returning to the bleak and I kind of like it. But that's not what The Mask is. The Mask is the opposite.
correct. And before we leave that conversation, I will say
Yeah,
weapons. There's a difference between using, because I don't want people to think I don't like comedy and horror. 'Cause I mean, I can if it's done well, and I don't think a lot
exactly.
of movies are doing it well. Weapons did. It made sense with what was happening in the scene. Whereas
Yeah.
this one, it felt like we're just gonna completely cut to something else so we can hee hee ha ha. And it's like, stop it.
Right. It,
Anyways,
it, it feels, yeah, yeah. It feels like a obligation more than a natural result of the story.
this movie's too bleak. Okay, well then don't watch a fucking Evil Dead movie.
God, yeah, yeah. Don't watch the movie about demons taking over the world if you don't like want to watch demons taking over the world. But I don't know. People disagree on that. There are definitely people who are like, no, Evil Dead should be silly. The demons weren't gleeful enough. And I don't know how I feel. I guess I'm not that invested in me. Even though I've seen all of Evil Dead, I've seen all the movies, I've seen the TV show, I still don't feel that invested. So I guess that's just me, where I'm like, I can see both arguments.
And I think that's what makes that a great franchise. I would say Evil Dead is probably one of my favorite franchises. I love how this is the Evil Dead episode. But that's what's great is there's options.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, hey, if you like this, watch this. If you like this part of it, watch that one. Like you can pick your level of Evil Dead.
Correct. But
Mm.
The Mask
Yes. Well,
is a different type of humor.
okay, there was one line, I wrote it down because I'm taking a note from you. I'm writing them down. I like when they said that the SWAT team got an offer to open in Vegas because of them taking part in the Cuban Pete dance number. And I also liked there's a part where one of Peter Green's cronies, the one with the long hair,
Yes.
when Peter Green, Dorian, is that his name?
Yes, it's Dorian.
Yeah. Dorian puts on the mask and he transforms. And the guy with the long hair, he says, "Whoa, boss, are you okay?" But he says, "Whoa." He says, "Whoa, boss," like he's kind of turned on. Like it's very subtle, but it's like, "Whoa, boss."
Like, damn.
Like, damn, you look good. I just didn't expect it. And it felt like a little bit of subtle humor in a very broad comedy. So I was very surprised by that. I don't know if it was intentional, but I don't know. It made me smile because I'm also very attracted to Peter Green. So I was like, yes, are you okay?
I will say, watching this movie as an adult, he's so attractive. But man, they put
This is a very attractive cast.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hate. Oh, go ahead.
I was just. I was gonna say, and I wrote this right at the end. What's up with all the fucking bald people with ponytails? There's like 4 or 5 in this movie, and I'm like,
well, I was
thing?
watching contemporary interviews. I sent you a screenshot of this. I know he just died, so I'm not making fun. I'm just pointing out that Chuck Russell, in his interviews at the time in 1994, he had a very receding hairline with very long hair in the back, like shoulder length hair. So maybe he was just, I think it's been scientifically proven that you're more likely to cast people who look like you. So maybe he was like, yes, ponytails and bald heads.
He was trying to normalize the look and to start a trend. Everybody, you got to shave the front of your head and grow out the back and get a ponytail.
This is the vibe, guys. Chuck Russell, he worked until the very end. He just made a Witchboard remake in 2024. He was booked and busy. And that's always sad, too, when people work until the very end, where you're kind of like, dang, I wish you could have enjoyed the fruits of your labor more. Like, okay, now time to retire and then just kick back. And instead it's like, I'm happy he was doing what he loved, though. So it's kind of a mixed bag
double-edged
there.
sword. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, oh, I wish you could just relax. But if you love making movies, I'm glad you got to do it all your life. That's awesome.
I would assume he had the financial means to retire. So at that point, it was creatively for himself. I would hope.
Yeah, I hope so, too. This movie has some really sad stories around it. I don't know how far we want to get into that, but Richard Jeni, who was the comedian who plays Stanley's best friend in the movie, he killed himself at 49 years old. There's 2 self-inflicted gunshot wounds around this movie because he killed himself. And then Peter Green passed away last year at 66 because he shot himself in the armpit and it hit an artery. It was an accident. Like, I don't know what he was doing. And so this movie, maybe there's a mask curse. You reach middle age after the mask and bad things happen. But I thought it was really weird that 2 people died kind of similarly. And I was like, ooh. But, but Peter Green gone too soon. And this movie has 2 Peters. There's Peter Green as the heavy. And then the good guy, Lieutenant Kellaway, his name is Peter Reigert.
He's great.
I love him. And the whole movie, I kept thinking, would I be attracted to this man if it were not for the romantic comedy Crossing Delancey, where he plays Sam the Pickle Man, who is a very non-traditional love interest for the main character in that movie. A very reliable, sweet, patient guy, and you just fall in love with him in the movie. And so now whenever he shows up in something like The Mask as like a bumbling detective, I'm like, whew, that's a satisfying drink of water or whatever it is.
Yeah, there was a picture of him when he was younger in one of the special features, and he was I mean, I would say he's objectively attractive in this movie, but when he was younger too, just
He's a handsome
so
guy.
handsome.
So basically, I just watched The Mask for the men.
Hmm. Well, Cameron Diaz.
Oh my gosh. One, she's beautiful, but also she's 21. And I didn't love how the camera always lingered on her boobs. Like it would be doing like a full body shot and it would like stop and keep going.
In one of the special features, Chuck commented on that and how today's audiences might see this movie and think it is a little, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say a little. I mean, there's definitely some misogynistic undertones. And he was trying to justify it by being like, well, this movie was kind of a lot of my fantasies. Just like.
And I'm not capable of that.
Which, whatever.
Right.
I've definitely seen some movies from the 90s do worse.
That's for sure. I'm just going to get this out of the way is I don't love this movie. I wanted to hear why you loved it and all of that beforehand because I didn't love it. But I like a lot of the ideas. I like aspects of it. So I like how Cameron Diaz starts as the femme fatale. You know, it's very film noir. Oh, I'm a sexy bad girl and you're going to fall in love with me and I'm going to betray you. Except they twist it and she ends up being the good girl. But unfortunately, being the good girl in this movie means she also becomes the damsel in distress. And I'm like, gosh, darn it. I thought it was really interesting how they subverted the trope, but then they just subverted it into a more misogynistic trope than the one that they started with. And I was like, darn, I like this idea, but I don't like how it, like, what's the word I'm looking for? How it was executed.
In their defense, it did turn it around in that she's the one that kicks the mask out of his hand, which ultimately saves the day. And she's the one that
there you go.
She wouldn't have done that. And also, what did you think of Peggy's character? She was also this very
brassy career woman.
I'm an up-and-coming writer, and I need to make my own voice. And she just fully betrays Stanley, and it's like, I got to pay for my condo. I loved that.
This movie,
she just wanted her money.
Is like, bitches be greedy. And I'm like, God damn it. And those are the two women characters. Bad girl gone good and the overly ambitious woman. And it's like, these are our choices, Mitchell. And this is what the camera was doing to Cameron Diaz.
Did you like the apartment manager?
Oh, that's right. There was also a shrew. An elderly shrew. So we have 3 choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a monster, and I love her.
Yeah.
Back to why I love this movie.
Yes. Why do you love this misogynistic
big
movie?
Fucking hater. Classic. Here I go again. This is why I think this movie is gay. I think The Mask he's fruity as fuck. And there's just so many parallels to, I don't know, straight men are so gay. I wish they'd understand that. These experiences that you're depicting in this movie is about how this repressed straight man that's so nice, that always finishes last. I mean, you put the mask on and then it evokes your biggest fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
It's
your inner world.
And his inner world is very flamboyant costumes, 2 incredible dance numbers that I will be talking about, and the parallel between that and a queer person that's closeted and then coming into their own body. And part of me wonders if that's why I love this movie as a kid. It's just like you get to see this repressed male character get to be fun and goofy and dance and sing.
I think that's one thing with Jim Carrey is I feel like his normal Stanley performance, if he had just dialed that back a little bit for me, I think it would have been perfect. Because we know with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind that he can behave normally. But with this movie, he's like, I won't be doing that. But I so agree with you. Like, as a metaphor, the mask can be the closet. The mask can be like, I was thinking, I was like, I'm sure there were a lot of like neurodivergent people watching this in the 90s who didn't have words for what they were doing every day. They didn't have the word masking, you know, in the popular lexicon. I'm sure there's a lot of people who related to this.
It's a theme that is very, very relatable for a lot of different people. And
Mhm.
I keep playing over and over in head. The mask is a metaphor for that actor. I feel like I've seen him in something else, and he just
Yes,
has
Ben Stein.
that
He was in
monotone
Ferris
voice.
Bueller's Day Off. That's what he's known for. Is the voicing Bueller. Bueller, that's him. I saw him once at my college. He did a very conservative speech because it turns out he is like a conservative. I don't know the word for it.
No.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a pro-creationism diatribe. I don't know. Seems like a nice guy though. One of those things where it's like, I don't agree with half the things you're saying, but also this was like pre-Trump, so like people actually sounded like humans when they disagreed with you instead of quiet piggy.
My God. So yes, the style of comedy, and I would say just the overall theme of this movie, I think is something that really latched on. And watching this movie again, it definitely has some things that I'm just like, I would say one, like you said, as far as I wish Jim would have been able to reel it just a hair back when he's Stanley, because there is a good contrast between him when he's Stanley versus him when he's the mask, but even a little further would have been good. But anytime I had any kind of doubt, the second Cuban Pete starts, any kind of doubt, negativity, questioning, it floods out of my body. I think that scene alone is cinema masterclass, masterpiece, incredible show stopping, never done. We need. I love musical numbers in movies, even when they're not musicals. And there's two in this movie. Not before we get into Cuban Pete. There's also the
Yep.
dance number in the club, which is so incredible. The dance scene with him and Cameron Diaz, where he goes into the nightclub and they do the swing dancing number. It's so good.
It's so good, and I like how it's shot so that you can tell from the cuts. It's very obvious when it's Cameron Diaz and Jim Carrey, and they actually end up doing a lot
A
of
lot
it.
of
Like,
it.
they are dancing a lot. Like, no, he's not, you know, spinning her around over his head or whatever, but they're doing a lot of dance. Like, they worked hard on that, and it's really admirable because I feel like now, I mean, you know, I always think of I, Tonya with the CGI face on.
Oh, what a choice.
Yeah, so I really appreciate how they did it with just stand-ins and actually dancing, a mix of the two. I'm like, you guys did a good job with this, and more musical numbers. I 100% agree with you.
There's a special feature on the disc with the choreographer Jerry Evans where he talks about the two numbers, and he did talk about how apparently Chuck asked him if you mentioned the big spins and these really elaborate tricks. He basically asked Jerry if Cameron and Jim could learn that, and he's like, absolutely not. He's like, that's so dangerous, and no, we'll get stand-ins. And I also really loved about this desk is they had rehearsal footages of Jim rehearsing Cuban Pete, and he's just in his normal clothes on the set, and that boy can wiggle, which makes sense, you know, as a physical comedian. But also, I was so sexually attracted to him as when he's doing Cuban Pete. I think that's so weird.
You're like, whew.
When he shakes his butt, it's something about the costume. Maybe I don't
Well,
know.
I
It's a
was
little
about to say, he has like, it gives him the very traditional silhouette, the broad shoulders, narrow waist. That is like the most attractive silhouette on a man, I think.
He's just so good. Like, he's also a good singer. Did you know that I think I'm gonna buy one. They sold individual single vinyls for him singing Cuban Pete.
What?
Yeah, and you can find them on eBay, and they're not that expensive. So I think I'm gonna buy one.
Yeah, do it. Do it. So, I mean, you've been shopping after every episode. So
Exactly.
this could be your shopping spree for the mask.
But anyways, yes, they do sell those, and yeah, that whole dance number, it's so magical and it's massive, and I love his costume. I just, oh God, it's so fun. I love fun.
I love the musical numbers, and I love all the allusions to classic cartoons. Because even though I didn't grow up with The Mask, I grew up with Looney Tune compilations and Tex Avery compilations, all of which are frequently referenced in this movie. The wolf in the cartoon Red Hot Riding Hood is like shot for shot recreated, I can't talk, recreated in The Mask. And it's funny though, because I read that Red Hot Riding Hood influenced The Mask, but they got it totally wrong, Wikipedia or IMDb or whatever. They were like, oh, Cuban Pete was inspired by this cartoon. But not at all. It's the Coco Bongo Club club scenes that were inspired by the cartoon. And and he goes around like a Tasmanian devil with the tornado movements, and he has Looney Tunes comics in his dresser drawer, and he even has like I think it's a phone that looks like the wolf, Tex Avery's classic iconic wolf. It kind of made me think of all the allusions to the wolf, especially kind of made me think of like a sheep in wolf's clothing, like or wait, other way around, wolf in sheep's clothing, because he's such a nice guy, and then on the inside he has this sex crazed mask persona. One thing I think is also interesting is Stanley even writes into the newspaper as Mr. Nice Guy, but we don't actually see him being nice in this movie. He gets a woman tickets and she kind of walks all over him, but he's not really being nice. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really see him being kind to anybody unless he wants to sleep with them.
That's me with any man. I'm like, do I want to fuck you?
Sure.
No? Well, then if I don't, we're going to be sisters. I'm going to kick you with you, and that's it. And you're probably going to think I'm mean, but I'm really not. Anyways, but I knew when I was watching this again, when they had that whole scene with him and Peggy talking about him writing those letters, I was thinking of you when you were talking about your favorite movie, Obsession, and how that's about the night. Everyone's talking about this movie's so different because it's a nice guy like being bad, and it's like he was never nice.
I mean, it's never nice. He was always a jerk. Like,
you mean he was a fucking
already
dweeb? When did we start correlating awkward dweebish men with being nice?
Right. Yeah. I don't know, and it drives me crazy. And I was just thinking about it. If The Mask was made in 2026, would he just be like an incel? Would he be on a Reddit forum being like, oh, Tina doesn't like me. Ah. That whole aspect of it, him being a nice guy, it made the comics make more sense to me, that the comics are really about a guy who isn't that great and puts on the mask and becomes a psychopath. I'm like, that makes more sense to me than this movie does. And now I kind of want to read the comics just because they seem more, even though they sound absolutely kind of disgusting, like they seem more honest to me.
Something I learned as of last night is that this movie did have multiple writers, and that the screenplay started with the comic book, the team that originated the comic books, writing that for the film. And then they decided, I'm sure whoever, New Line read the script and was like, this needs something else. So then they handed it to another writer, and he's the one that introduced all of these love interest elements, which for the 90s, that makes sense. If they made this movie today, I would love to see the horror version that is more closely adapted to the comics. And we're talking about how it's gross and sadistic. How different is that from Terrifier? We watch these movies that are disgusting because they're disgusting. So I'm like, let's see The Mask do it.
Yeah. I agree. And I guess maybe that's why I have such a hard time with this movie, is because I do appreciate the cartoonish musical aspects. I like that. But I just feel like there's something dark underneath the surface. I feel like they tried to make it full comedy, and I'm just like, something is up here, and I don't like it. I don't know. There's just something kind of lurking. And so once I learned its background, I was like, that makes so much sense. It does have a dark background. And we have this little cartoon world of Edge City. It's right on the edge. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, totally. This movie is strange.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be wrestling with it for a while. But can I say Jim Carrey's jawline is giving us all body dysmorphia?
The original looks Maxer.
Yes, it's insane. His jaw, it's like a 90-degree angle.
Well, bringing that up, there's one topic in particular I want to talk about, which is you mentioning the cartoons. And I think we would be remiss to not discuss the CGI in this movie and its importance to the movie, because everything I've been researching and they talk about it so much. But also just oh, yes. And that makes me think of the thing that I texted you about. So for the makeup for this movie, yes. Which, first of all, I love the character designs for the mask and for Dorian's version of the mask. I think they're really cool. Also, the merch for this movie is so great. It's just, I feel like a lot of movies now, they make merch for movies and they don't pick the interesting things to put on the merch. They pick like what's this minimalist, I don't know. It needs to be more every day, versus this movie, it'd be like they would take shots of him when his eyes are like sticking out of his head and just these really cool shots. But anyways, I'm going on.
But no, you're so right. Because, I think of the black phone popcorn bucket, which was literally just a phone. And it's like you have the grabber right there. You have this iconic look, and you're like, it's a phone.
Exactly. I wrote his name down. Where did I put it, motherfucker?
The makeup artist?
Yes, it's Greg Canham.
Canham, yeah. I have him in front of me now, too.
Perfect. So, yeah, he was the makeup designer for this movie. And I wanted to ask you, if you were to take a guess at another very formative movie of mine that he was also, don't look it up. I see you looking at your screen. Think of the movies that Mitchell talks about a lot. A lot of people like the movies, but sometimes there's ones that I really cling on to, like The Mask, that are just like, why that one?
Right.
But he was the same makeup artist for this other movie that came out, I want to say in 2004, and it was also a comedy.
Comedy from 2004, was it? I'm like, Hairspray?
That involves the Wayans brothers.
Scary White Chicks? Yay!
I fucking screamed because I was like, I love the makeup in this movie. I'm going to go look up what other movies he's done. And I saw White Chicks on there. I was like, this makes so much sense.
It does. Oh my God. Literally, we were just showing Oliver, my son, a scene from White Chicks. And my husband was like, those are the guys from Scary Movie.
Wait.
And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, those are two black men dressed up as white women. And my son was like, no, they're not. That's how bizarrely good the makeup is. Where even a child is like, I don't know about that.
It's almost uncanny valley. The way you can tell it's not real, but it's very, very close. But also, I need context. What scene were you showing Oliver from White Chicks, and why?
He has started enjoying the song "1,000 Miles" by Vanessa Carlton.
That song has that iconic scene. Is it Terry Crews, right?
Yes, with Terry Crews, yeah. And there's also a scene where the girls play it, but that one gets a little inappropriate. So we did not. We started that one, and then we were like, pause, exit. Let's jump
to the family friendly scene in White Chicks, which is Terry Crews.
No one's around.
I know there's a lot of controversy around that movie and how.
Whatever.
I think I also think it's interesting because I think that really closely ties to what's going on. I can't think of his name. What's the name of the comedian that just did Erica Kirk?
Oh, God, I have no idea.
Do you know about that?
No.
This comedian did an Erica Kirk basically sketch. And
Oh,
he
gosh.
posted a reel of him depicting Erica Kirk. Also, for any of the listeners out here, fuck Erica Kirk. But anyways, he did this depiction of her, and she like was like threatening to sue and just talking about how offensive it was. And it's the
Oh,
thing is
yeah.
like he's not doing anything that absurd. It's
Right,
like
right. It's just the fact that he's doing an impression.
well, and they kept saying, it's like you're doing whiteface, and it's like, girls, we got to give it up. White culture's cringy, and there's not much going on there. God, when somebody tries to fucking compare blackface to whiteface, I'm like, shut the
I,
fuck up. There's just
mm-hmm,
you have no intelligence if you think that they're similar. But anyways, so White
mm-hmm.
Chicks, I love White Chicks. It's one of my favorite movies. Honestly, that was in my top 4 on Letterboxd because that was another very formative movie. I think
Yeah.
the combination of The Mask, Hairspray, White Chicks.
It's too
There's a reason.
powerful.
There's a reason why I am the way that I am.
Oh my God. That's a too powerful trio, Mitchell.
So, anyways, makeup in this movie is really
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Quick,
Nominated for an Academy Award.
the only Academy Award it was nominated for, and it lost to Forrest Gump, right?
Yes. Ridiculous.
They talked about it on the special features, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't think that was right."
No. Like,
I love it.
old age makeup, revolutionary.
I love it when people aren't diplomatic about these award shows because I feel like everyone's got to put up these fronts that I'm so happy for the other person. I love it when somebody's like, "I deserve to win that."
100%. With the mask? Yes. Oh my God.
So I
But
think that's a good segue into, was it makeup effects or was it special effect? It was special effects that was nominated.
makeup, hair and makeup.
Oh, okay.
I think. Let me double check. Now
I'm pretty sure it's
doubting myself.
I'm pretty sure it's visual.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm dumb. You're right.
It's
You
okay.
are the mask expert. Why did I question you?
I'm a mask expert as of like 12 hours ago when I actually took the time to look into the background of the movie, which I have to look up the name of the company that did the CGI for it because I can't remember it.
Yeah.
It's like IBM.
Let's see. Visual effects. ILM. Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah, ILM did the CGI for this film, which ILM was founded, I believe, by George Lucas, which I think is interesting. You don't think of the visual effects of Star Wars having a relationship to the visual effects of a movie like The Mask, but I think that's really cool. ILM did the visual effects for this, and apparently at the time, the CGI in this movie was like revolutionary. And I will say, watching it now, I feel like it's aged pretty well for CGI.
Well, from the 90s, 100%. I mean, you watch Star Wars Episode 1 and you're like, this looks kind of bad. You watch The Mask and you're like, this makes sense. The cartoonish CGI. Like, I think it's really truthful to what they were trying to do. And yeah, it's funny because I think it's the same place that did Jar Jar Binks is the same place that did The Mask. And yet The Mask is so much better.
One of the clips, they were talking about the scene involving the apartment manager when she screams in fear and then he mocks her and then his eyes come out of his face. One of the designers for it, she said that it took him 4 weeks to make that 20, not even 20, maybe like 10 to 15 second shot. And the whole time I'm watching this and listening to these CGI artists talk about this movie, I'm constantly thinking about the landscape we're currently in with AI. And it makes me so sad. A movie like this, the CGI is so great. And there's all these humans behind all of it. And there's time and inconvenience that they had to go through to make this. And
now some loser in a basement is like, I can do it myself. And it's like, no, you can't.
And the tool that they are using, which isn't requiring any kind of artistic input at all, is probably using something from The Mask.
And that's the thing is I don't think people understand that there's a difference between The Mask, which is influenced by real cartoons and takes it and makes it its own through, weeks and months of hard work, of real artists using that as a starting point and making their own thing and putting their own humanity into that thing. And I think people who are super into tech don't understand that that is not the same thing as take this and say it's mine, and say I made it.
You're taking this opportunity from a whole team of
An
people,
artist.
a
Yeah.
full-time position from somebody, another working creative that could be doing what they love, and
Mhm.
giving it to a computer. And then on top of it, when you're taking and mashing all of these references and source materials and throwing them all together, it lacks the identity of the artist that would have done it individually, or the collective team. Like, it doesn't have that stamp. And we're just, if we keep going down this route where everything's gonna be AI, God, it's just gonna be so bland and just garbage.
And the thing is like AI will always need artists to leech off of because otherwise it ends up eating itself and it just becomes more and more garbage. So they're always going to need more stuff to pull from. And it's like, that is so maddening when I think about it. So it's funny how, like, something that I don't personally enjoy overall, like The Mask, I'm still like, okay, but that is still an artistic achievement and it deserves its flowers. And I would watch The Mask a million times over, something with like Tilly Norwood or whatever the fuck is going on over in this make believe land of zeros and ones.
This whole experience of revisiting this movie has made me, while this movie makes me so happy, it's depressing. You see these shots on these sets and these people at their old computers just spending so much time working on these things, and I hope someday
Because
we
they
can find,
like
like,
it.
exactly,
I think there are lazy people out there who do not believe that there are people who will work hard on something because they enjoy the work. You know, there are people out there who do not believe that. They're like, "Don't you want it to be easier?" And it's like,
no,
"No, I like this. I like doing this, you psychopath."
even in non-creative spaces, the convenience of AI is not worth it when you think of the outcome that it has. As far as, there's, it sounds crazy to say, but there are benefits to inconveniences and having tedious work. It's something to do. It is something for a human being to do. If everybody's doing everything so fast, quickly, they don't have to do anything, it's, what the fuck are you going to do with yourself? We have so much time in our day that it blows my mind with these links that we're going to in order to make things easier. So what are you doing with all of that other time? Like, I don't
Working your 3 jobs to survive.
I don't remember who I was talking to. Somebody was making the argument about, well, AI is good because it'll make this thing faster and that person can spend more time with their family. But that's not how that's going to work. Because realistically speaking, if any of these big corporations, employers start seeing this opportunity where, oh, they use this AI tool, now they have all this free time, they're not going to keep that person around. They're just going to find more reasons to cut and cut and cut, and nobody's going to be able to fucking work.
Right, right. I think it's very interesting that they're using it to simplify white collar jobs, you know, jobs that you do at a computer, jobs that you do at a desk, and they're not using it to make manual labor a thing of the past. Okay, so you're getting rid of all the white collar jobs. So does that mean we're all going to be in the fields picking strawberries? Is that all that's going to be left? Like, it's just exhausting. Anyway, I want to use my brain. I like using my brain. I like problem solving. I like making things. Of course, I like when things are accessible. I like when things are user friendly. I don't want my computer to do everything for me. I want to use my brain. And yeah, I that's that.
And people need to get back into the habit of enjoying interacting with other human beings. And that includes the spaces that AI is replacing. When you run into a problem, how great is that experience that you had where you had to talk to an AI chatbot? How effective was that? Please tell me.
Worst. The worst. An hour later being told what I already knew. Like, okay, yeah, I could have looked that up too. That's why I contacted a human who might have experience or know something I don't know.
Why is it so bad that somebody is getting paid to be on the other end of these things? I know we talk about AI a lot on this, but I thought it was very relevant in that, this is a huge conversation right now. I don't know if I should bring up Miss Ice Cream Man and all the controversy surrounding that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Exactly. I was like, well, that's one less movie I'll have to go see.
Well, you know what's so funny is I see everyone being like, boycott this Eli Roth movie. You know, he's a Zionist, which I'm like, yeah, that's your prerogative. But I'm like, how convenient that it looks like a terrible movie at the same time. Like, of course you're gonna boycott it. It looks like crap. You know, I'm like, would you still be that adamant if it was like the best movie you've ever seen? You know what I mean? What if it was like teenage sex and death at Camp Miasma? What if that was the movie they were trying to get you to boycott? Would you still do it? Or is this just kind of a convenient hill to die on? Like, oh, I'm not going to go see the Ice Cream Man. It's like, of course you're not. It looks like garbage. What
I'll
are
be
we?
honest, I was kind of interested in it because isn't he self or distributing it or something, right?
I don't know what he's doing. I
There's some
don't.
there's an independent element to the movie that came out before. There was some
Okay.
article about that I thought was enticing and thought was cool.
Hmm.
But then this all happened. I was like, well,
Hmm.
never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I
I
also love
just,
that I'm saying this. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure I just bought Yankee candles that I'm fairly positive have AI labels on them.
right. It's everywhere.
It's inescapable.
There is an aspect of the mask I wanted to bring up, which is the one time in the movie where I was like, yeah, I can see why my parents didn't want me to see this when I was in my single digits, which is when he whips it. He's making the balloon animals and he whips out a used condom from his pocket. I literally gasped out loud. I was like in my bedroom and I was like, oh.
Or him shoving the car parts up two guys' assholes. That's a Saturday for us gay men. Take a chill pill, diva.
It's weird, just these little hints of something much more adult, something much more R rated.
Do you think it's really cool though that this movie did seem to have a good it incorporated the original creators pretty heavily, and it seems like they have a very positive relationship with what this movie became and how its success. And I think that's really cool because I feel like that doesn't always happen.
So many times it's like, oh, that's not mine anymore. Or I didn't feel listened to, or I was kept in the dark, or, they gave me my money and said, get out, you know? So, yeah, it is good to hear that the original creators of the comics embraced it and were like, yeah, this is good for us. It's good for the story. It's good for the art. Collaboration. We love collaboration.
We do. So would you say the biggest thing you don't enjoy about this movie would be the tone, as far as this
Yeah,
kind of this in between that it is between what the original comic was and what the studio wanted it and what Chuck wanted it to be?
Yeah, it just doesn't quite work for me. I think there's like
Hmm.
my three main takeaways for what didn't work is Jim Carrey is just really weird. And I don't really get the general Jim Carrey shtick, like I don't really get it, but that's just me. Obviously, this was one of the most profitable comic book adaptations of all time until The Joker came out in 2019. So obviously, I am alone in that, being like, what is this guy doing? Like everyone else gets it. So I accept that. I don't like the women in this film. One of those things where it's like, well, hire a woman behind the scenes or something because this is messy. And I feel like it's kind of riding the line. It's comedy and it's broad and slapstick, but there's something about it that feels very sinister to me. It just doesn't quite work for me. It makes me wish that I could see the horror version because as it is, it kind of feels like a Beetlejuicy riff. I'm kind of like, I wish I was watching Beetlejuice because that one knew what they were about. It's like, here's Beetlejuice. He's a laugh and a half, but also he's evil. I think they did that balance a little bit better in that movie. So I'll watch Beetlejuice again. I'll be thinking about The Mask for a while.
I mean, those are all fair points. Jim Carrey's type of humor, you either like it or you don't. I
Mhm.
personally am still on the fence about it because after watching this and hearing about his year, 'cause I've never seen Ace Ventura
No, me
and
neither.
I've saw Dumb and Dumber as a child, but I need to
Oh,
revisit it because I just need to figure out. I'm like, do I like Jim Carrey or do I just like Jim Carrey in The Mask? Whereas a
right.
lot of people were saying I was reading some Reddit forums and they were saying that this was their least favorite of the
Oh.
bunch, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But I don't know. It's very distinct, and you either like it or you don't. I mean,
Mhm.
so I
I
don't
love the
judge
production
anybody.
design. My husband walked in and saw the Coco Bongo neon palm tree, and he pointed and he said, "That's gonna be your favorite part of the movie." And I was like, "You're not wrong." I loved the Edge City production design. That was really cool. And I'm kind of surprised that this is as popular as it was because it has these campy, over the top cartoon elements. Because then you think of like the Batman movies, like the one that Jim Carrey was in. A lot of them got panned for being campy and over the top. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do we just have a different expectation for the mask than we do someone as iconic as Batman, you know?
Which kudos to Chuck Russell for making sure that the musical numbers in this movie, because they did talk
Hmm.
about how it wasn't uh, like they had to fight essentially to keep those scenes in
Yeah,
because
thank God.
they're the best parts of the movie.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So I love this movie.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
I'm happy that I got to talk about it with you.
Oh, I'm glad. I tried to foster an environment where you felt free to fangirl a little bit.
I'm also not delusional. I can watch a movie and I can see where it's been aging a little bit. And I do have to also say, this 4K
Mm.
restoration of this movie is very good. I did not remember it being as colorful as it is. So I don't know if you got the same experience, but just there's washes of color in this movie that I never noticed before.
Yeah, like
It's
the like
beautiful.
bright blue in the background a lot of times, like the blues and the purples, and it just
Hmm.
makes the mask pop.
Exactly. And the costume designer did talk about that specifically as far as she intentionally made it so that the other characters were wearing more subdued color. So that way, when the mask is on screen, which all of his costumes, I fucking love
Yeah.
the French one with
Mhm.
the beret and obviously the yellow. It is so iconic.
The
Ugh.
zoot suit,
Yes,
yes.
it's so the combination of this, and he's supposed to be in this movie. He's supposed to be the sexy character, but he's realistically so ugly. Like I love it. Like
Yes,
it's
and
so
I love
weird.
as like a history nerd, I loved when they were at the club and there was like a hip hop version of like Cab Calloway playing, like Heidi, 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 hey. And I'm like, oh my God, this is cool. The music in this movie is awesome. The costumes are awesome. Cameron Diaz in her like black mesh dress with like the red bondage stripes, like to
Beautiful.
die for.
Hmm.
Beautiful. I learned she was
Yeah,
a model before this. I'm like, so much
I
makes
didn't know
sense
that.
now,
Yeah,
right?
and
And also, both of the Peters are hot. The end.
exactly. Yeah.
Pete and
Yep.
Pete.
Yep. So if you haven't seen The Mask, I think you should definitely give it a whirl if you want to watch a silly movie. If you want to
So,
get to know me a
yeah.
little bit better and my origin stories, this is a great movie. You said it wasn't available on any streaming services.
No, it wasn't streaming anywhere. There was like, I think like YouTube TV, like one of those places that you have to pay to stream that you don't typically have. Like most people don't have the streaming service. There were a couple things like that. And otherwise, I had to pay $3 or $4 to watch it. But you know, streaming comes and goes. I'm sure if someone's listening to this 2 years in the future, hi from the past, maybe they'll be able to stream it.
My mom just texted me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. This is going to be the ending of the podcast. My mom just
Yeah.
texted me. It said, "How's the Miralax journey going?"
What? What's that?
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Jenny and I are going to talk about that off camera.
Okay. Bye.